We're running out of time, and unfortunately we only have 2 weeks before we start holding things up. So we gotta figure out how we're gonna get stone on the elevation or the front of our house. We're gonna start on the side of the garage and see how it goes. Over the next 2 weeks, we learned the process of installing manufactured stone veneer. The goal is to put the stone veneer on the front of our house, but we're gonna start on the side of this garage first. This video has some ups, but many downs.
We'll be splitting this process into 3 different phases.
Phase 1, waterproofing, metal lath, and scratch coat. Phase 2, stone. Phase 3, grout. Here are some of the tools you will need if you are doing this on your own. Jerry's here to give us some tips and tricks before we get started.
So first thing you have to do is make sure you have a waterproofing material. This is a Tyvek wrap. It is waterproofing, it's generally sufficient. But if you want to go an extra step, you can always put felt paper on top of that. Coat allows you to put it right on top of the Tyvek because it is a rated waterproofer.
There's a couple different types of felt paper. One is number 15, one is number 30. We got number 30, that is the thicker kind, just because it doesn't cost that much more and it doesn't rip as easily. It's pretty easy, straightforward. We just measured it out, tacked it up on the wall. It took us a little bit more extra time to get the felt paper on than we anticipated. We thought we were gonna get the metal lath today, but that's just not gonna be the case.
Hey, everything takes a little longer your first time.
Once you get the felt paper up, now we're moving on to the metal lath. Metal lath essentially is just a metal mesh material. At Menards, it comes in these sheets and they're pretty flexible, so it's really easy to tack up on the wall, but they are very sharp, so watch out for that.
It has a direction to it where the lath is angled upwards so that when you do what's called a scratch coat, which is nothing more than mortar, a thinned out mortar that you apply with a trowel, because the lath is angled upwards, it holds the mortar in as it dries.
We're gonna be using this gun. We're gonna use these metal snips to cut it to the length that we need. On the studs, we're gonna go every 6 inches down. The studs are on 16 on center, then we're gonna go over 16. We will need to nail it in between as well to make sure that it's flat. So for this part, we just tacked it in on the top here, but you can see there's still a lot left over. So I'm gonna get the metal snips and I'm gonna leave like about 1 inch, just like we have for the other ones.
I'm Faris.
I gotta get off my ass if we're gonna get this done in 2 weeks. I'm not trying to rush it, but we need to get this done or else we're gonna have to call in the big dogs to help us out.
Unless we're spending our honeymoon with my parents in their basement.
No way, no way. That's my motivation. That's my motivation. This metal lath took us a little bit of extra time that we really don't have, but it's a learning process just like the felt paper. We're coming in here ready to work, but really getting bogged down by the learning process because we want to make sure we are doing it right. We are both working full time, so this project comes in the after hours and we're really trying to balance the life of getting into this home, but also still maintaining our jobs.
Putting mortar on the lath is called the scratch coat. It just creates a rough surface so the stone has something to adhere to. So today is scratch coat day. Faris and I have our matching t-shirts. So we're a big team today. We got our mortar man Faris. All right, let's get scratching.
So the mortar we're using a pre-mixed mortar that includes sand, so it's super easy. All you have to do is add water to it. For each one of these 60-pound bags, we need to add about 1 gallon of water, and then we're gonna mix it into this tub right here. We're using this hoe to mix it. You could use a bucket, and you could use, you know, a drill. This is soft enough. It's a good mix. And then this is called a hawk, so we're going to put the mortar.
Wow.
You're gonna slap the mortar on top of there, and you're gonna take your trowel, we're gonna use a flat trowel, and we're gonna wanna push it up. So you're gonna wanna push it into that. But you can see how much mortar this is gonna take.
Okay, so once you have your first layer of mortar on, you have to do a scratch coat. So we have a little...
Well, we don't have the right tool.
Yeah, we don't.
But like, I mean, you can go get the right, it doesn't really matter because this is not that big of a deal, but we're just using some like wire to go across and scratch it like this. Because the main thing is that you want to have a rough edge. All right, Lisa, you were just complaining on there. I never hear you complain.
I'm not complaining, I'm just stating that this is definitely a shoulder workout from pressing this in really hard. Also, this is quite heavy. So
yeah, it is a little heavy. That's like once you fill it up, it's like probably like 20 pounds.
Yeah. But at the same time, we're multitasking.
Getting ripped.
Getting ripped. We're putting up some mortar. We call this the mortar workout. We originally thought we'd have the scratch coat done in a few hours, but like all the previous steps, it took a full day. At this rate we're moving, I'd say we're gonna have the garage done in 2 weeks. But at the same time, the scratch coat does need to sit overnight and dry before applying any stone on top.
We finished up the scratch coat today. We're gonna pack it up. Started at 10, it's 6:30 now, so that was 8.5 hours of work. It looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, I'm proud of us.
Yeah.
I'm pooped though, we're looking a little crazy.
Now the day is finally here. We're working on the stone.
Yeah, it's fun.
It is so much easier to start your stone bearing on something. In this case, you have a brick ledge here. You guys decided to omit the brick and use the veneer stone, so you can rest your first course right on that brick ledge, and then work your way up.
So we brought some of the stone in here. We're gonna try to lay it out. So I measured the outside wall, and we're gonna lay out a portion here so that we can get an idea of what it's gonna look like. And then we're gonna have like a little assembly line going. Lisa's gonna hand me the stone. I'm gonna slap it on, butter it up, and then put it on. Luckily, like, we can do that with 2 people. I don't think it's gonna slow us down, but hey, who knows? We haven't done it before. But if we can get a good idea laid out here, we can see what the pattern will look like.
And slap it on real good.
Slap it on. Since this is our wall, we are gonna start with the bottom, and we're gonna start with this piece first. So we're gonna do the biggest piece first, I guess. But then we're gonna just keep on working our way up. So the backside you can see here is rough. We're gonna be putting on the mortar onto this side, but we're gonna spray it down just a little bit, just to dampen it, and we're gonna do both sides. It hasn't been too dry here, but you know, we don't want the mortar to suck up all the moisture. So we got our brick trowel here. This will help us take it from here, scoop it up like this, slap it on. This is a big piece. Okay.
Wow, you must really like stone. Okay, the first pieces of stone went on pretty easily, especially since we already had the pattern laid out.
Once we got past the support of the brick ledge, we ran into a couple of issues.
The sky is looking really dark. Our mortar's already wet enough, so hopefully it passes over, but this might be an issue. Looks like we got Jerry just pulling it. Oh no.
Oh my God, what the heck are you doing? This is all wrong. What are you doing?
I can't get half of these like to stay up.
It falls on you. Oh.
And then just knock that one off too.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are heavy.
Yep. Yeah, you were just putting too much mortar.
Okay.
Even though this is supposedly hung on the wall,
Yeah.
it's hard. And if you're going in order, you're literally stacking like a masonry joint. You're literally using your foundation, but it will adhere. You go that high, you got a big stone that's not set, it's going to kick out on you.
Okay.
I would suggest you just keep going that way.
Okay.
Our plan was to use the pattern that we created in the garage and just work our way up this sidewall. But obviously that's not going to work, and we basically just wasted 2 hours of time. Heavy?
I don't even know if I'll be able to pull it.
The tube is out.
No.
There you go. All right, fair enough. Those are great linear pieces to put on your window right now.
Like underneath?
Sure. Well, it's just here for next year.
I cannot believe after all this time we are just going to freestyle the stone. That kills me.
I know it wasn't. I know it kills you, but it wasn't a complete waste of time. We did get to see what types of stones we were using.
Yeah.
So there was some benefit, but you know, learning curve. Another learning curve.
Throw it in there. Come on. Come on. No more fooling around.
Okay.
This is production. We got rain coming.
Water bottle.
Oh, you're getting carried away, Chris.
think that does anything for him.
Slide it back and forth 2 times. Just leave it. Done. Ready for the next one?
After Jerry arrived, we quickly realized that we were probably overanalyzing every step of this process. We really need to pick things up or we're never gonna get it done.
Just as we were picking up speed, the weather had other plans for us.
All right, we're getting rained out right now, so we're gonna pack it up. We learned some things today, definitely. Not everything went as planned, but we're gonna come back tomorrow kicking, hopefully finish that wall, and then we can start on the rest. I mean, we're trying to move as fast as we can, but everything is taking longer than we anticipated.
Yeah, but Jerry said we can only do 2 rows like at a time. And let it dry. It's gonna take forever.
Gosh. Better luck tomorrow. We're gonna go with a little bit of different strategy today. It's just when you get something new and it's super shiny and you don't want to do anything and you're super, cautious about it. But then after a year, you're like, yeah, just use it, man.
Like our car?
Yeah, that's how I feel about this. Like, we had like our slow day yesterday. Today, let's go a little bit more.
Today we're just slapping some stone out.
Today we're just slapping it out.
We were feeling so good until the day came.
I'm gonna throw it. I'm gonna break it over my knee.
Sorry, bud.
Same one I threw, I'm about to throw it again. This is why I want to give up on this day. But I'm gonna keep going. Pie in the face.
Don't.
I don't know if this was because we had a long day before and we were pretty tired out, but this day was rough. Nothing would stick on the wall. The mortar mixture just wasn't right. Maybe it was the humidity in the air. I don't know exactly what happened, but we just couldn't get things together. Even though the day before was going smooth.
I don't know.
It just wasn't our day, and man, it took a hard one to the.
Okay, we have a slight problem. If you look at this angle, the stones are on an angle. They're not straight. I'm sorry, buddy.
Just can't fix it. Dude, it's so too. It's just this day has been one of the hardest ones.
This has been a rough one. We're done. Ultimately, we thought it was better to hug this day out and start fresh tomorrow. We can do better. We got this. What is that?
Fresh day, same shirt. Hopefully today's a better day.
Today's a good
and
day.
Onward.
Good day to stone.
Since we were putting some of the stones on crooked yesterday, we brought in some chalk lines. A chalk line is a little contraption that holds a reel of string in it. Then you add some chalk in there, so as you pull out the string, it has some chalk on the string, and then you kind of slap it against the
Snap it.
Then you kind of snap it against the wall, holding it straight so that it creates a straight line across the wall so that you know you're putting your stones on straight as you move up the wall.
With our new attitudes and our chalk lines, we were able to accomplish a whole lot more. Sometimes a good night rest is all you need, especially for this guy.
It finally felt like time was starting to speed up and go a little faster.
Last piece of this wall. Then onto the grout.
Nice. Oh my gosh, it looks so good.
All right.
How's it feel?
Yeah, we got a lot of work to do today. We're trying to finish this grout up today, so we're gonna start grouting. We want to make sure our grout is a white color, so we're using Federal White, and we're gonna mix it in with the sand. All right, we're doing 2.5 parts sand to 1 part mortar. This sand is kind of brown, beigey color. The more sand you use, the closer it's gonna look to the sand color. So we wanna make sure that that color, that white color of that mortar is a little bit stronger in the mix.
Before you start grouting, make sure to brush off the excess mortar and spray down the seams. We used a grout bag for this. You can pick one up at any hardware store. We tested out some areas in the back to make sure we like the grout color. And fast forward 4 hours. So we realized that the Federal White with the sand made this beigey color, and we didn't like it mixed with our stone. So we had to go to Menards and got 3 more samples that we're gonna try in here and let dry overnight until we can find the right white mortar.
We've been on a wild goose chase today, trying to figure out the color of our mortar, our grout. We tried one.
No comprende. No gusta.
See, we don't even know how to speak English or Spanish.
It's been a long day.
We're trying, guys, we're trying. So in the total of a full day, probably like 8 to 9 hours, we have pretty much got nothing done.
No, we finished the stone.
I think we've learned our lesson. Nothing comes easy. Whenever you enter a new phase or have to learn something different, do not expect that you're gonna be able to get it on the first try, because we definitely did not.
So we let the grout samples set overnight so that they could dry fully, and I think we have a winner. We're gonna go with this sample right here, which is a 3-part white mortar veneer grout mixed with our regular 1-part mortar to get more of a gray color instead of that yellow brownish. This was a 4-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1. Winner, winner. Does it feel good to know what mortar we're using?
At this point, this is just it.
This is it?
This is it.
This is like, I'm done with this, man. I'm done.
This is it, bruh. Okay, so after you've grouted your section, you gotta wait like at least 45 minutes or so, and then this is a striker or slicker, and you rub it across your grout that you've had, and this creates a more natural look, and this just kind of brushes it off, takes off that little extra. This really helps pack it in, giving it a solid seal from the water. You don't want water getting in and then freezing and then popping your stone off, so like you gotta make sure that you're packing that in there tight, there's no gaps. All right, our 2 weeks are just about up, and we finally got the right grout color and pulled a midnight shift to put that on. What do you think, Lise?
It looks so good. Wow, the color dried so nicely. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's like the right color.
Yeah.
It's like light, like as much as we want it to be.
Without being too gray.
Without being too gray.
And it definitely is like the old world style that we were looking for.
We definitely did not get to the rest of the house. No. But we got pretty close to finishing off the garage wall. But hey, I still call this a win. Even though we didn't quite finish this wall, it feels good to know that we got the right grout color. Since it's not crucial for the stone to get done for us to move in, we're gonna make sure that we're gonna be working on it all summer long while we're working on things that are crucial on the inside. Some of those projects we need to get done in order to move in, and we're gonna bring some help, and some people are gonna come along the way to help us get these projects done a little bit faster so we can get moved in before our wedding.
In our next episode, we discuss all of our interior design selections, from the countertops, hardwood, paint colors, and all the prices that go with it, because you guys know we're on a tight budget. We'll see you guys in the next one.
He's underneath
I
this.
saw him go in there. What?
He's gonna be underneath. Oh, I saw him pop up.
Oh,
You see him?
he's so cute. Oh, hi, little buddy. Oh,
Oh, he went underneath there. He's in the other one now.